We're back with a brand new Football Manager challenge, and in this one we're taking on a tactic that I haven't tried yet in FM26. Now the good news is quite often I have no idea what club to use, but my friends at Surprise Shirts, they've sorted me out this time, and this one is an absolute ripper. Look at that. We're going to Catanzaro in Italy. Now alongside the shirt they've given me the background of the club and the tactic stip for this save. Let's just say I won't be shopping for strikers. So welcome to Italy and welcome to Catanzaro, a club I have never managed in FM, and I'm looking forward to this. So they're taking part in one of my favourite countries to manage in Football Manager, Serie B in Italy. So I do believe Catanzaro is in the southern part of Italy. Now they have spent 7 seasons in Serie A, but we haven't been back in Serie A since 1987-88. So that is the day one goal. Get the club back to Serie A. And if you look at the honours section, it's pretty barren, isn't it? So surely we can add a Serie B promotion to this list. So the other goal of the save is to get a tactic rocking that does not involve playing strikers in the traditional striker position. So somebody like the absolute Adonis that is Filippo Pittarello, well, he may not be needed. Because when it comes to the tactic, we're going to build one completely strikerless. So we're starting from scratch from the tactic screen. Now if you saw my previous video on long ball football, you will know that I adopted the out of possession setup of having everybody dropping back, getting behind the ball. So we've just got to flip that for this one and have them doing that with the ball. So you still need a goal for it, so these attacking midfield positions are going to be vital. Now the roles we'll probably use, at least one of them should probably be a second striker, so he's going to have that striker instinct, basically a deeper striker. So we can kind of get around the strikerless methods by having maybe 1 or even 2 second strikers. The rest of the team, we need to think of how we're going to score goals. We're not going to want balls over the top, so that's probably going to rule out direct football. Sorry hoofball fans. So we'll probably bring that down a bit and go shorter. Now the wide players will also be key. I'm not actually thinking they need to be the main suppliers here, because out and out wingers probably won't be the ones we need. If we look at the visualizer when we go forward, they end up being the most attacking players high up the pitch, with the shadow striker, second striker, just in behind. So I'm thinking the main creators of this will probably be the deeper midfielders for through balls and the fullbacks, because if we adopt them as wingers, you can see how high up they get, which is probably a better position there to supply the balls in rather than wingers. So that can mean we can get a bit inventive with the wider players if we use them, potentially wide forward or inside forward, maybe even a playmaking winger. We'll investigate it as we go on. As it happens, just by moving players around there, that's a pretty common shape for a strikerless system. A weird looking 4-2-4, but we might get a bit more inventive, maybe have a third player in there, drop a couple of these back. We're just going to play around with it in pre-season and see what we come up with. As far as the squad goes, it's a pretty big squad. They do have a lot of players in on loan. Hopefully these are players on loan from bigger clubs, and they look like young players as well, like Alfaljo Cisse in on loan from Hellas Verona. They are from Serie A, so he looks like a decent player, but not jaw dropping. The highest value players that we've got, Constantino Favasuli, like he's a winger, but to me, he looks like an absolutely perfect wing back. That might be something to think about when we build our tactic. Marco Pompetti does look like a really good midfielder, either DM or central midfield. And a good solid goalkeeper is always handy. And we've got Mirko Pigliuccelli. What I'm not seeing is an abundance of attacking midfielders that can fill that attacking midfield slot. We do have Pietro Lamello. Now he's normally going to be a striker, a deep line striker. So believe it or not, that's probably the perfect player to drop in behind. And when I look at his attributes, he's got flair for days, off the ball. He looks like a really good player. I just wish he was 5 years younger. The rest of the higher value players, however, are more defensive based in typical Italian style, so we might have to find a couple of players to bring in. I mean, one thing's for sure, I'm not going to be lacking in defensive minded midfielders. We seem to have an absolute ton of them and a lot of centre backs as well. So if it comes to making any signings, I've got 1.5 million, which is not too bad for a Serie B outfit. Again, our wage budget is maxed out, so if I do see any free transfers, I'm going to have to adjust that transfer and wage budget. Now I don't have many players to fill that attacking midfield slot, so it seems the right time to create a new focus for that area of the pitch pretty much straight away. We'll keep it ongoing so we get lots of results, and I'm going to drop the other recruitment focuses so they can focus solely on that. We've got some good pre-season fixtures to test ourselves, including Serie A teams Inter and Bologna. I mean, if the tactic setup works against them, we should be alright. So in pre-season, the 4th match was against Bari. Now this is important because they are in the same division as us, so this will be a good guideline to see where we're at. So we're away from home in this one. That attacking player there, by the way, that's my left wing back. He's managed to become the most attacking player from the entire team on the counter-attack. Now it's very early days with this tactic, but I've gone with a back 3. There's my 3 centre-backs there. The middle one is an advanced centre-back, so he's going to join the midfield. but it looks already like the two wing backs are going to be the key players in this system. Now you can see the two second strikers, they're a little bit wider, and just in between them is a bit of a playmaker. So my idea is he drops in the hole and provides the through balls. At the minute, he seems to be occupying 3 players, which is quite handy. So here is pre-season so far. The first game was Palermo, 0-0. Then it was Inter. We got a 2-2, but we were very lucky, I'll be honest. Same with Bologna, they battered us, but we got 0-0. A couple of tweaks later, and we beat Bari 5-0. So I'm using pre-season to try things. We might have hit on something, but it might just have been lucky in that one match. But here is the tactic. It's a 3 at the back setup for the first version. I'm no doubt it will change as we move on through the season, but as we saw in the clips, the wing backs were way high up, which is what we thought they might do with no wingers in front of them. If we look at the visualizer from the goalkeeper, you can see we've got our 3 centre backs, pretty solid stuff. As we start to progress, the advanced centre back moves right up. Now it's interesting that they say he's going to move past the DM, but if it's wider, the other DM comes up. So I'll keep an eye on that in matches. Now, when we get to the final third, that's where the shape evolves into this. So how do we make it work in terms of out of possession? Well, again, this is going to change as we go, but at the minute, I've got us dropping into a flat 5 at the back, and the 2 second strikers drop to cover the wide areas. If we look at both tactics at once, it makes more sense. You can see Udin and Lamello will drop into right and left midfield, 2 DMs stay where they are, and the 2 wing backs drop straight back into fullback. So when we lose the ball, it looks a bit like this, and this is the positive of strikerless setups because you get straight back into your shape, which is why I haven't included short goalkeeper distribution, because then if we included that, these boys would get dragged out trying to push up, so they drop back into their shape. When we get to the mid block, nice and solid. When we get to the low block, I mean, across the back there, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In theory, if this works, we should have the best defensive record in the league, right? So look, we'll start with that system and then we'll see where it ends up. So far, I'm happy with pre-season, and I have started to look in the free transfer market, and there's some big names down here. I shouldn't, should I? I mean, I'm getting tempted by some of these players. I need to have a word and remember that I'm not actually playing strikers, so stop looking at them. So I agreed terms with Balotelli. To stop me making more rash signings, I went to the transfer room, creating my requirement for an AMC. Let's see what other clubs throw at us. We then beat local team Vita Bese 10-1, so yeah, I'm going with this going into the new season. I got some transfer room offers, but none of them were blowing me away. There were some big clubs trying to ship out their youngsters to me, a couple of free transfers from agents, but nothing better than what we've already got. Most players I was getting priced out of, crazy wage demands. Balotelli turned me down to go to Tanana. Where the hell are Tanana? Serie C. So instead, I focused on other players. First coming in was Giacomo Bonaventura, experienced Serie A player. Now he could be perfect in the attacking midfield slot. Look at those attributes, I can definitely get a good season out of him. And I spent money, 500,000 on Omari Forson from Monza. Former Manchester United youngster. Looks like a good all-round option, so I've got decent depth in that attacking midfield area going into the season. Now speaking of the season, last season Catanzaro finished 6th, got to the playoff semi-final before getting defeated by Spezia. This season they are expected to be close at 15-1, expected to finish somewhere around the top 8. Into the season we go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. With FM26 here, this could be the perfect way for you to discover your next Football Manager save. Not to mention, Christmas is coming. What a gift. And remember, when you choose the FM edition in surprise shirts, you will receive a shirt from a playable club in Football Manager 26. But it doesn't end there, because you can customise your choice and avoid certain teams, leagues or even colours. Let's just get rid of those. And by adding code STINGER at checkout, you're going to receive 10% off. And for even more great savings, select subscribe and save for all these great perks and add in the Stinger code STINGER20 to receive a further 20% off. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And the shirt they have chucked at me is the 3rd shirt from Catanzaro. It's uncommon, the details are beaut, I love it, so thanks to Surprise Shirts for sponsoring this video. Now, how did we do in the first part of this strikerless season? So we started the season with a solid 2-0 home win, followed that up with a 0-0 away draw at Spezia, then a good 3-0 home win and a 1-0 away win. We weren't conceding any goals. Then out of nowhere in the Coppa Italia, we were in a 9-goal thriller. I have no idea what happened there. Back to form with a 3-1 win over Juve Stabia. There was a couple of dodgy moments, such as this goal line technology call. We were settling nicely into the defensive setup. A lot of the teams do not know how to approach this and are really struggling to break us down. And Bonaventura was showing his class, dropping into pockets like that one, players struggling to pick him up, and then managing to get on the end of chances as well. Pulling the strings from the midfield, assisting others as well. Now away to Sampdoria, definitely one of our toughest fixtures this season. He was there yet again to score the second, and that win over Sampdoria put us top of the table after 6 matches, having only conceded 2 goals. I had brought in a second version of the tactic, dropping the advanced centre-back to a normal centre-back, having 2 wide centre-backs and dropping down the mentality to balanced. Then it was time for the tricky looking fixture away pre-season title favourites Monza. They've got some seriously good players like Andrea Colpani, so for this one I did lock in the more defensive version of the tactic. So we're playing in white in this one, and what resulted was our best performance yet. Bonaventura was again at the heart of it, but all the players were superb in this one. So I don't think Monza knew what hit them. A lot of our goals start from when we're defending, but when we start going forward with the defensive midfielders keeping it solid and the front three just breaking the lines. With Monza's confidence absolutely shattered, in injury time, Forzan helped himself to his second goal and our 5th. Performance of the season, everything just clicked perfectly. And then we lost at home to Padova despite absolutely battering them. So straight back down to earth. So early days, who have been the key men, the key positions? Well, I've mentioned him a ton. Bonaventura. He plays in the middle of the 3 attacking midfielders and he's bagged 5 times. But low-key, the most important player is this man, the deep line playmaker, Pontiso. He keeps everything ticking over with direct passes to the wing-backs and strikers, and his average rating is absolutely exceptional. And I've kept Forzan on the bench, but now he's burst his way into the team. He scored 4 times, he's definitely going to have to start. So by the time we got to the halfway point of the season, we had lost a couple of matches, but not many. And we were doing well. Even in the Italian snow, Forzan was managing to score. With the defensive side of our game looking solid, a flat 5, followed by 4 and 1. We kept getting those important wins and getting those clean sheets. And we're sat in second position. We've still got a really good defensive record, having only conceded 10. I think the mistakes are mostly mine. So what I mean by that, I've got a bit married to this version, whereas I should revert to the original more attacking version in some matches as well. But I've kind of stuck with this one, probably because of that amazing Monza match. But with a pre-season prediction of 8th position, and we're currently sat in the promotion places, it could be time to twist and get a couple of players in. Don't get me wrong, the team as a whole has been fantastic. The signing of Forzan has been justified. He's scored 8 goals now in 12 matches. And it's not bad when you've got 6 goals coming from your left wing back. Quite often when the 2 defensive midfielders get the ball, the 2 advanced wing backs are the highest placed players to pick out. Question is, where can we improve this team? It could be at centre back, where Nicola Briganti has been fantastic, but he's 36 and he's not much of a ball player. Either way, when it comes to players, it's the perfect time to look for players for next season. I'm going to use the quick filters and have a little look at see who's expiring. I'm going to build my shortlist up now for players for next season. I decided to make just one signing in the January transfer window, and it was for centre back Christian Kars. He fills a gap because I don't have any wide centre backs with a left foot. That's going to be his job. And he only costs 165,000, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. With a good clutch of out-of-contract players all slammed on my shortlist, and even some confirmed already, it was time to attack the second half of the season. So after a great January, a horrible February followed that. Now though, after some good results in March, we are back on track. With 6 games to go, it's all to play for. It is tight as you like at the top of this table. We've had our ups and downs, but with the best defensive record in the league, we find ourselves third, 2 points off the top. More importantly though, only 1 point off promotion. In the next match, there was a disappointing defeat to Monza, who got their revenge after that 5-0 drubbing at the start of the season. But we got back on track with a win in our next match, and then we made it back-to-back wins. That means with 3 games to go, we are on the brink of getting up at the first attempt, and we've also got Palermo in one of our final games. We don't like to do things easy, but we did get a 90th minute winner against Spezia. Omari Forzan has proved to be a quality little signing with 14 goals this season. Then it was time for the Palermo match, potentially a title decider. In this one we just could not get going, and Palermo took it down 2-0, which meant we miss out on the league title. Palermo take it, but we've still got a big job to do and make sure we gain this promotion. Out of nowhere, Cesena had risen up the table and currently occupies second position. We're up against it. So we burst into the final game of the season knowing we have to win. We took an early lead thanks to that beautiful through ball from Forzan, and Di Francesco, he did the rest. So just after half-time, I'm checking the scores, and Cesena are actually beating Padova 2-1, which means, despite us winning, it's as you were. We're going to stay in third position. There's the league table. Cesena have just got us by 1 point. Regardless, we need to keep pushing on. I've gone with the more balanced tactic for the second half now that we are 1-0 up. Now we're playing well. We're spreading it around really nicely. The wing-back's getting involved. Here's my boy Bonaventura. Supplies Forzon, who finds the left wing-back, and that's us 2-0 up. But alas, Cesena are still 2-1 ahead. Now it gets a bit nervy because we have conceded 1, so it's 2-1. However, my boys react really well. Di Francesco supplies Forzon, and that makes it 3-1. And nearly identical to that third goal going in, Cesena concede an equaliser to Padova. Now that means we nudge ahead and go into second. We're going to get promoted if it stays like this. 88 minutes gone. I think we're going to be okay in this match. I'm just going to lock it down and make sure that we do get through it. So it's injury time now. I just want us to keep hold of the ball. We've done the hard work. It all depends on what happens in that other match. Full-time whistle goes, 3-1 win. And as you can see by my team talk, Cesena bottle it, only drawing at home, which means our 3-1 win means we go up in second position. So an overachieving season. We're in Serie A the first time of asking with the Strikerless tactic. There were some standouts there that probably deserve another chance next season. When I go to the squad and I'll pop it into appearance order, you can see how we rocked it. Wasn't a lot of rotation this time. I do like to rotate, but I was really settled with the starting 11, and because we didn't make any changes in terms of transfers other than Bonaventura and Forzon, the team was pretty settled. I haven't focused on him yet, but Matheus Antonini, he was the ball-playing centre-back of the three. Brazilian, so he's going to be a bit better on the ball. But still, he's 6'4", so he does his defensive duties really well. He was a mainstay throughout. 28 years old, he's a definite for next season. So is the goalkeeper. Now he's 32, but as we know, goalkeepers get better with age. And he was really good this season, so that's nice knowing we've got a good, solid goalkeeper to see us through. I guess the big question is, will the front three get the goals in Serie A? Now, Di Francesco is on loan, but he's triggered his loan fee, so he's joining us. He is 31. If you look at his attributes, he's nothing special, but he did manage to score 12 goals for us, so he will have a role to play. And Forzon's the exciting one. He's 21, and he's only going to get better, so he will get a chance. But as for Bonaventura, we did say he's only going to have a season with us. His contract's running down, and he did start to decline a little bit. He did give me 10 goals, but I think, yeah, he's on his way to the MLS, and if I was him, I would go there as well. So we're going to need at least one attacking midfielder. Now, the two wing-backs were good, but down the left, Gianluca here, he's at 32 now, so I've given him a new contract, but I expect him to be back up, so I'll need a new left-back. In fact, I'm going to have a good look at it, because there's quite a few players we might have to be harsh with, but the good thing is the spine of the team. Pigliacelli in goals, Antonini, centre-back, the two defensive midfielders, and Forzon, they're going to stay. I just need to work around it. So I like the tactic. I'm not sure if it's in its ultimate final form yet, but I think it's only fair we run it for a season in Serie A to see if it can help us survive. So the prep starts now for season 2, and you can see the gaps I've decided to try and strengthen. The big problem with that will be the recruitment budget, because despite being a Serie A team, they've only given me 500,000 to strengthen the squad. So I have got busy and I've got a raft of players joining the club, but in honesty, most of these players would be pretty decent Serie B players. Are they good enough for Serie A? So knowing I can't afford Serie A standard players, I went to player stats for Serie B and decided to look through players that excelled at that level, and hopefully we can find ourselves a bargain. For example, the top assist maker in the league last season, Andrea Oliveri, there he is. He's at Pescara on loan from Atalanta, but I've managed to seal a deal on a free transfer for next season, so he's going to be coming in. And because we can't afford to pay top level prices, I've had to cast my net far and wide, such as Christopher Mamengi, who looks like a pretty decent attacking centre-back if there is such a thing. Now he's playing for Pristina and they are in Kosovo, so it shows how far away we've had to look for players. So July hits and I've finalised 8 signings, some of which will definitely start. Much travelled Croatian Josip Brekalo joins on free transfer from Real Oviedo. Here's a player who has played at the top level in the Bundesliga and Serie A. He's gone a bit off the radar, so hopefully we can rediscover some form. So now the new signings have came in, I've slotted them into the tactic. There has been another big-ish signing for our level. Filip Kostic, formerly of Juventus, an attacking left wing-back. He's 33, but we should get a good season out of him. 2 new centre-backs in Van Huysden on the right-hand side, and we saw Mamengi before. It's going to be a big step up for him. Now the strike force, let's see what Amari Forzon can do in his debut season in Serie A for us. We're going to have Bracalo on one side, and I will give a chance to Di Francesco on the other side. But I have tied up my biggest signing yet to play in that attacking midfield slot, and it's Feo on loan from Roma, formerly of Real Madrid, and Cordoba. Roma signing for 1.6 million. Didn't give him a kick, so I've got him on loan. And if it works out, he will sign for us for 2.2 million. So that's the good news. We've got ourselves a decent squad. It's definitely upgraded from last season. It'd be a really good Serie B team. The bad news is it's not a very good Serie A team because we find ourselves up against it from the get-go at 600 to 1. Oh dear, it really is all about survival this season, especially when you look at our worst preseason of all time. It just is not clicking at the minute. This is going to be tough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it till the midway point of the season, persist with this tactic as much as I can, but it might be by the time you come back to join us that this tactic might have to change if we cannot get it to click. So in Italy, your first game of the season is the Coppa Italia, which is quite handy because you can use it as an extra friendly if you like. Problem was we weren't playing well and went down to Padova pretty early on. We worked it quite well to get back into it, and Forzon looks like he's carrying on his form from last season. He scored again later on, but that was our third goal. Unfortunately, Padova had scored 4 times. So despite a great attacking performance, we shipped goals all over the place. So I responded by selling one of my backup central midfielders for 2.6 million to Pisa, and using them funds to sign a new centre-back, Oriel Amenda, for 1.5 million. A giant of a man, 6'6", beast physicality. Hopefully he can help shore things up at the back. Then straight into our Serie A match against Udinese, up against it from the start. But with Amenda now in the team, we looked a lot more solid, and on 12 minutes we made the breakthrough through that man again. Lovely little finish from Forzon, and as the half went on, we were having the better of it. Udinese had not had a shot since that early burst. With time running out, it was time for some dark arts such as time wasting. We survived a late onslaught, kept it solid, got a clean sheet in our first game in Serie A for a massive 3 points. Maybe I was too quick to write off this tactic. Or maybe I wasn't, because the next clutch of matches, Fiorentina, Sassuolo, Torino, Parma, Inter and Milan, not forgetting Roma, that was pretty brutal. So after around 50,000 matches where we couldn't get a win, Napoli arrived at the stadium. This was mad because so far this season we didn't look like scoring in any matches. In this one though, we couldn't stop. In front of a packed home crowd, we gave our best performance yet. Absolutely murdering Napoli 4-0. Now that might just have been a freak result, but there has been a bit of an uptick in our performances recently. Only 1 defeat in the last 5, and just about the halfway point of the season, we're doing okay. We're 13th in the league, but it's super tight down there. We're only 3 points clear of the relegation spots. The one thing we've got going for us is we don't concede many goals, only conceded 20 times. So to get the results turned around a little bit, I took a bit of a risk. I got rid of one centre-back and tucked him into central midfield. I had a new man up front. Gino Infantino came from Fiorentina. He only cost me like 300,000. But you can see the problems we've got as I put the team in goal order. Our top scorer is Forzon with 5, but we're just not scoring enough. In fairness to the board, they like what we're doing and they have gave us 9.5 million to spend if we want to bring anybody in. So going into the second half of the season, I definitely need some extra goal threat in these positions. Big moments in the second half of the season. Teo giving us a lead from the penalty spot, and we've only got 10 men. This could be a huge victory against Atalanta. We're definitely improving. Absolutely massive. Go on, boys. To keep the momentum going, I put a big bid in for Oliver Batista Maya, a seriously good technical player. He's going to help in that number 10 slot. With a cut price move for Calvin Stenz on the way as well. The player's out of contract soon, and I'm grabbing him for 200,000. What an absolute snip. We continue to defy the odds and beat the big teams. Juventus, well, they fell into the trap not once, but twice as we beat them home and away. As well as beating Atalanta away from home. Believe it or not, the problems were coming against teams from our level like Palermo, Torino and Parma, but we had done enough to get enough results and points on the board to maintain our Serie A status. It was messy at times with no real consistency, but there was enough big wins to defy those pre-season odds of 600 to 1 and survive in 16th position. So these two variations of the tactic managed to keep us in this league just, but I think it's fair to say that if we want to progress this club into the top 10 where I want to get them, I'm going to have to change things in terms of maybe more attacking formation and definitely some better quality players. So now we're an established Serie A team, we push on. I'm tempted by this Strikerless version that I use in FM24 with Real Valladolid, but of course we have the extra out of possession stuff to think about which might make it even better, or it could be a disaster. And let's be honest, we are still working with pretty much a Serie B squad, so it was time to go into the transfer market. Problem was, the board were being ultra cautious this year and giving me less than 500,000 for players. So I had to be clever and get some players in on free transfers. But these are an upgrade. This is Gruev, who's came in from Leeds United, can play anywhere down the middle of the pitch. I've gone for a sheer pace option. Ali Yassim joins from Como. More pace in the shape of Rak Saki from Crystal Palace. Can play anywhere across those attacking midfield positions. In total, I brought 7 players in, all of them on free transfers. And unfortunately, that hasn't really helped the pre-season odds because once again, we're at 600 to 1. And remember, the goal of this is to get into the top 10. An absolute dream would somehow be to qualify for Europe, but let's see what we can do this season. We couldn't have asked for a harder game to start the season. Inter away, so in this one, I went with the back three. Despite a good start, we got absolutely bulldozed, so it might be time to try that other formation. And that gave us a big win over Como. I'm still tweaking it. By the time we got to the 4th game of the season, I was kind of settled on the fake 4-2-4, dropping into a 4-4-2 fake out of possession, and we were dominating teams, even like Lazio. New signing Ali Yassim down the left-hand side was proving to be a big handful for opposition players. I was doing all I could to stop those annoying long shots. And out of possession, we were much more aggressive, getting the defensive line a bit higher. When we defended, we dropped into a pretty nice looking shape. We're still really deep, but not as deep as prior. And then when we launch onto our counter-attack, we've got more options and really quick ones as well. When we attack, the 2 wide players are our highest players in the team, with the 2 attacking midfielders dropping back a bit. But then as we progress, the second striker starts to burst through the defensive lines, and he's got decent support from his other 4 forwards. Now obviously, being more aggressive, you're going to have a bit more trouble on counter-attacks yourself, but the results so far are definitely showing me that this is the way to go. So you're going to get some nice football from this tactic as well. And Ali Yassim, we've found him from Como, who never played him. He's an absolute superstar. Dribbles with the ball, he's quick, and then when he gets into these sort of positions, I mean, how's he scored that? We'd had an unbelievable start to the season, winning loads of matches. The 2 big defeats, Atalanta and Inter, the bigger teams. Well, we saw what happened against Inter, and I was getting a bit cocky against Atalanta and still went attacking. So from now on, the bigger teams, I'm going to go in cautious. I'll try that now because I'm away at Milan. Early days, it's pretty 50-50. We might have got this right. Well, we go down 2-0, but it's better than the other matches, so I'm going to persevere with that. So after Milan, we drew with Genoa, drew with Napoli, but then lost 2 matches to Juve and Fiorentina. Maybe constantly messing with mentality wasn't the way to go. But not to worry, as we come up to the midway point of the season, we're still playing some good football. And the important thing is, we've won more than we've lost. We may have lost 5 matches this season, but we've won 9, and we're sitting crazily in 4th position. Now, I have thought about improvements to see the season out, but I'm just going to roll with it because I've got a decent sized squad. And my board just do not want to give me any money anyway, so let's see where we finish this season. Having finally settled into a consistent tactic for the rest of season 3, we were the shock team in Serie A with our unpredictable but exciting style of play. Yeah, we lost a few matches, but we won a truckload as well. And for Tiny Catanzaro to storm through Serie A and finish 5th position and qualify for Europe, that's some achievement. Because I still don't think the squad's that good. Having said that, there is some key men in this lineup. Ali Yassim was a great purchase, 7 goals, 8 assists, lightning winger. And Batista, attacking midfielder, finally showed that he is the animal with 20 goals from that position. And it does look like we've reinvigorated the career of Calvin Stengs. So that fake 4-2-4 took us to the next level after all the hard work was done in season 1 and 2 by the 3 at the back variation. There was an awful lot of trial and error there to try and get it right. I'm still not convinced it's absolutely perfect, but for a team like Catanzaro to finish 5th in Serie A, I think we did a decent job.